Happy Sunday, Land Golf Academy members and guests. And it's been about 2.5 years since I started this channel, and all these videos, I can't believe I haven't done one on Jon Rahm. Love him or hate him, he's got a phenomenal swing. Today we're going to take a look at his old motion, look at what he changed to help him with his timing, what you can learn from this change, and maybe you can address some things that you could do in your swing to help the plane work. But if you do like this, hit that like, share, subscribe, really helps the channel grow. But other than that, let's get started. Take a look at how you can maybe shorten your swing to get more distance. Is that even possible? So before we get to the plane works and what his changes were, one on the left side is from 2017, the one on the right side is from this year, I believe, or last season when he came down to PGA West to play. But we're going to look at the impact positions. You won't see much difference at impact position, but how he gets there is a little bit different. We're going to look at the plane work and how he has changed his motions. But very powerful player, hits the ball a ton, but you wonder how can he hit the ball a ton with such a short backswing. So before we start talking about that, let's just look at the setup. The camera angle on the left side is taken at a slight different angle, so we're not going to get the exact view. So yes, I get it, this isn't perfect. In a perfect world we'd have everything down the line, but I can't follow Jon Rahm around with the camera because I might get some sort of warrant against me if I do that. So we have to make do with what we get. So we're going to look at the plane, and we're also going to put a green line right where his back brace line is, just to show you how well he maintains his posture. And Barney Purple, we're going to use Barney Purple right now to see where the center of his arches go straight up to the sky, and we will definitely see a similar setup in terms of the amount of weighting behind that centeredness. Now, but what we do notice is a slight difference in terms of his centeredness with his spine angle. We see the one on the right side does have a bigger triangle here. That means that there's a lot of weighting more towards the toes than on the left side. But again, let's chalk that up to a camera angle. So let's erase the Barney Purple lines for now. Don't worry, they'll be back. So let's take this club back to midway point, and we will start to see immediately a change that I believe he worked on for a purpose. The one on the left side is more of a traditional takeaway where we see the club and the hands fall right in that circle. That's a terrible circle, right in that circle there, where this one we can see that circle needs to be a lot wider to catch that club head and the hands. Now he's doing this for a reason, and one of the main reasons is to help him with his old compensatory motions from getting that club and that secondary plane down below to that primary plane line in a flatter motion. So he's trying to avoid that compensatory motions by getting it set up initially. So in English, what I'm trying to say is this club head is now below this plane where the old club head is above the plane, and that's going to serve its purpose once we get to that top of the swing. So as we take the club back even further, we can see here, I mean, look at that club angle. It's a little bit different on the left side versus the right side. The left side is again more traditional. The right side is definitely flattening his takeaway, and we will see why he does this the further we take this club back. So when we get to the top of the swing on both of these, we can see that yes, this is a short arm swing, but in terms of the body is still rotating plenty. We can definitely see the left wrist is a little bit more bowed on the right side, and again, that is because he is trying to get his club to be flatter initially. So we do see a slight bowing on that left side, but the right side is a little bit more bowing, and as a result the club is going to be sitting flatter. Let's erase those lines and work our way down, and we'll see what he is trying to avoid. So right about here we see the older swing. Look at where the club is. The club is starting to flatten out, right? Because he went from a fairly traditional steeper motion to now flattening out. It is maintaining its plane work, so it's matching that lower plane line quicker. And if we take this down to where the club is parallel with the ground on his way to impact, we can see that the club head on the right side is falling right on his plane. The club head on the left side is falling below the plane. So you can see on the way back, he took that club above the plane, and then he rerouted it to be below the plane. On the newer motion, he is presetting his flatness to match the lower plane, so it can remain on that lower plane as he strikes a golf ball. So this will definitely help him in terms of his consistency, because now he does not have to worry about timing that compensatory motions. So if we just delete all these lines and just take a look at that motion again, we know what to look for. And let's zoom out this one a couple of clicks here. So let's just mark where the club head is. So we go from the takeaway. Let's do this a little bit differently. So we're going to put the club head right here and the club head right there. So we see it's a much lower club head. As we get to the midway point, we can see that club head is up here. The newer club head is a little bit lower. And we get to the top of the swing, and now the club head is here. Now let's take a look on the way down. We're going to do the way down in Barney Purple. And let's take a look at that first move on the right side versus the first move on the left side. And we go down to where the club is just parallel. There's the club on parallel versus the club on parallel. And we go down to impact. They deliver the same motions. So we're going to connect these now and look at how the path has changed on the old one and the new one. So we see the one on the right side. Look at how tight his plane work is on the way back and the way through. Remember, the way through is Barney Purple. The way back is neon green. We got to come up with a green color name. So just leave a comment down below. What should we call the green color? I thought about Ninja Turtle green, but it never stuck. With the one on the left side, we look at Barney Purple and Ninja Turtle Green until we find a new name for that. There is some spacing, so this will definitely help him with his timing. Look at post-release. We see that club is veering off slightly left, where this club is pretty parallel to his planes. And if you follow through all the way, let's look at that extension. So his extension and the extension on the old swing, they are not matching the plane works as tight as they are right now. So it's all about keeping your club within relative terms of your path. Now, obviously, this is determined on your ability, how you hinge your wrist, where do you grip it, where is your weighting system, how much do you turn, do you keep your hands out in front of you, do you have to make up for the lack of turn with your arms and hands going too far back? Now you have to rely on timing, so there's so many things at play. So don't just start emulating Jon Rahm's swing and expect to bomb it 350. It's probably not going to happen. This just shows you that even the best in the world are still tinkering with their swing. And untrained eyes, you might not really notice it, but the goal in this channel is to train you so you can look at how the plane work is being affected, because it all revolves around your spine angle. So here's his spine angle, here's his spine angle. So as long as you can maintain your spine angle, then your hands and arms work around a stable pillar. So check your spine angle, because if you're losing your posture, that changes your spine angle. That's also going to change your path of your hands, and now comes compensatory motions. Now let's go in the face on and let's take a look at what he does to allow such powerful motions with what looks like a very small swing, but it really isn't. So we take a look at the amount of turn. He's not suffering any turn, but he's not one of the biggest turns out there. But the key thing is his retention of his hips. So he is now still generating a lot of torque with restricting the hip turn and turning around the hip turns while still getting pretty close to 90 degrees at the top of his swing. But you can also see the connection between his hands and his chest. They are right in front of each other. Now this is key because he is not getting his hands and arms too far back to times. Now if we take a look at this motion, we're going to put a little headline right above the top of his head, and I just want you to watch the spacing that he generates. So see that spacing? Remember what I said, you've got to go down to jump up. So we jump up at a golf ball if you want to hit it hard, but in order to jump up, you've got to go down. So he goes down and then boom, back up. Now he's not going up with his upper body, he's going up with his lower body, while his upper body staying down, which is the importance of maintaining your spine angle and using that back brace line to give yourself the real estate to tilt and turn. Now if you take a look at the amount of wrist angle he has, this might not be exact, but what we're going to look at is where that club is. So he has 69 degrees at the top of his swing. Now as we get down to impact, we can see that he is still able to retain quite a bit of that a couple frames before impact. Even as he gets down to impact, look at the amount of angle he has between his left arms. So he's doing a really good job of pressing the club into the ground, retaining a lot of wrist hinge. And the reason he is doing this is because he has de-lofted his club. And when you de-loft your club by bowing your wrist so much, you have to come from the inside to be able to swing up. So if we clear all these lines, we will notice the path of his hands from this point. They go, where do they go? Straight up. So that is the key for him. Now you'll notice that his footwork is pretty planted. He is still maintaining his stability with his legs to allow his upper body to to strike down the ball, but you do notice this excess shoulder tilt, and that's just to make sure that his hands are out in front as he strikes a golf ball. Because he is held onto so much angle, you better not flip those hands or you will hit the ground where his right foot is. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Does this make sense? Do you think it might help you? I think what you can learn from this is looking at your angle retention in terms of your wrists. If you are losing angle retention, it's probably because you're losing your posture, and maybe you're losing your posture because of inefficient weight transfer, or you're just not flexible enough to stay in your posture, and therefore you better go see a coach. And don't forget, for those that are still sticking around, we're doing our live series tomorrow where I'm going to be looking at some golf swings that were sent to me via email. If you want to appear on that, go ahead and send me. The link is in the description, and you'll be on tomorrow's episode, but it starts at 8 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. For those that want to join me, I'll see you guys tomorrow. For those that don't, I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for joining Fairways and Greens.